Today we're talking about how the INFJ finally stops overthinking and get things done. Are you in a situation where you feel like you can think of all the steps you need to take in your mind? You know exactly what is necessary, you know the feeling behind it, you know how the result could feel. But when it comes down to taking action, you don't know what the problem is. You get stuck, you're not really moving forward, and you don't know why. Very often INFJs tell themselves, oh, it's because I'm lazy, or it's because I'm an observer, I'm an INFJ, we're meant to be cerebral. But that is not the case. We can learn how to take the actions necessary to get things done. And as I love to say, we are INFJs. We don't have to do all the things. We just have to do the right things. So once we understand how we can bypass all the rules that seem to have to work for others, but are not really working for us, once we understand what does work for INFJs, what is necessary, and how we can do it in a way that doesn't overwhelm us, we actually not only get to have the great ideas that we do have, but we also make them reality and create the basis for an even greater next step. Before we get started, remember, if you haven't done this so far, to download the new poster on the INFJ Epic Life Formula, the basis of the INFJ Epic Life audio guide. And if you want to take it to the next level and you say, I love this, this is going to help me, I can already tell, then check out the audio guide and start that INFJ Epic Life that you deserve so much. All the information you find in the links in the description. I'm going to get right to the chase. The reason why we're not making the steps that we need to is because we try to combine the way we think about certain situations and the steps that are necessary for them. We as INFJs very often cannot distinguish between what is in our mind and what is reality. Once we actually recognize this, admit this to ourselves, we can then embrace it and find solutions that are actually working for us instead of looking left and right what everybody else is doing and wondering why the default motivation, why the thing that seems to work for everybody else isn't working for us. The way our mind is set up, actions and intuition and ideas are the most opposite they can be. That's because we have NI as our first function, and guess what? SE as our last. SE is the taking action part. It's something that we're not good at. It's something that we love in others because they sort of take care of all our weaknesses. On the other hand, if we go into, oh, how great my life could be, what kind of steps I could take, imagining this plan for ourselves, we go into NI. So we go deeply into our introverted side. SE is something completely different. Taking action, you actually have to lean into the other direction. And that in itself doesn't allow us to go deeply into NI, right? And you have to imagine it like this. We're always going to lean more into NI. No matter how much into SE you lean, you're never going to be an ESTP. You're never going to have 50% NI and 50% SE. Not possible. For example, an ESTP is also not going to have, 50% SE and 50% NI. No. We can most of the time say, I am, let's say, 70% NI and 30% SE, right? This doesn't mean that you're not really using FE or TI, but just, for the illustration here. But most of us lean even more heavily into NI. That's when you get into those loops, into the NI-TI loop. You actually go and say, I'm going to go even 80% into NI. I'm completely detaching from reality. I'm even connecting less and less to the real world, right? That's when you have the 80-20 or 90-10. Just think of it as a representation of, where we go with our mind. So if we say, I need to be more into SE, we might get it at some place to a point of, okay, I am only 60% in NI and 40% into SE. And that is the most I can go into that extroverted world. That's all I can do. And if I do that, then I need to go back into my normal state, which is more like 70-30. Right? So if we want to create ideas in our mind and then make them a reality, we have to first, after we have understood that this is actually how it works, we then have to define what is an externally observable fact. This is like one of those things that I keep on saying. Is the thing that you're thinking about really an externally observable fact? So let's say you want to be an author and you sit down and you start thinking about the ways you could do things, and then you do some research on like how you could tap into your mind, or you think about what kind of characters I could use, and then you go into, okay, what kind of century is my book going to play in, and all of those thoughts. Are these externally observable facts? No. What is an externally observable fact is you wrote one chapter and you handed it into, let's say an editorial program, or you handed it into a competition, right? These are externally observable facts. And it doesn't even have to go so far as writing an entire chapter. It could also be, I'm writing a paragraph. This is, of course, just an example. For every single thing you want in your life, if it is, I want to have a better job, if it is, I want to create a relationship, if it is, I want to create more wealth into my life, if it is, I want to have more energy, all of those things you have to look at twofold. On the one hand, you have to create a plan around it, the emotional state, the vision of what you want, and then you have to take action. And no matter what you do, you have to really separate those two as much as possible. What do I mean by this? Well, first off, we set SMART goals. SMART goals are specific, measurable, applicable, realistic, and time-bound. Meaning, it's not about, I'm going to be a writer. That's your vision. That is your NI. And that is super important. That's going to be the thing that's going to keep you excited about the process. This is going to be the North Star that's going to keep you moving forward. But it's not going to be enough if you're not taking those boring, real-world actions that are not exciting, that are not romantic, and that have everything to do with externally observable facts. And you separate those two. So you're not saying, I want to be a writer. What am I going to do? I'm going to write a chapter and I'm going to write it now. No. You have the vision. I want to be a writer. Then you say, my SMART goal is I will have finished the book by, let's say July 2023. That means I need to write a chapter every month. That means I need to write 5 pages every week. And in order to have 5 pages a week, I have to start with a couple of sentences. I have to learn how to show up, right? And then you recognize, okay, maybe then I won't be able to make it by July 2023. Because before I can have a commitment to making that happen at such a pace, I have to learn how to get there. So then you adapt your timeline. But you need to have a timeline. And you need to have specific goals, not something like, I want to be a writer. No, you say, I'm going to have handed in my book by the end of 2023. It will have 12 chapters, meaning I will create a chapter for 1 month starting, January. By then I will have, learned how to do that. And I do that by working every Saturday for 2 hours on whatever I can in that area. The more specific you can get, the better. But you don't have to have planned out everything until the last moment. You need to have a broad overview, which your NI will help you with. That's why I'm saying if you go more into SE, you're still going to have enough NI. You're going to look at this big picture thing, and then you're going to narrow it down. Remember, we don't need to do all the things. We just need to do the right things. That's why I'm always saying put it in your calendar. If you cannot put it into your calendar, then it's not an externally observable thing. It's not an externally observable fact that you're trying to create. But if you have something on Saturday and you say, on Saturday, I will have created 1 paragraph. That's how I start. I start small, but I'm there. I'm mastering the art of showing up. And you're not judging yourself for how much you can do. Because what most INFJs figure out once they get to this place is that it takes longer than they thought, that it's harder than they thought. And then a lot of judgment comes up and they feel like, why should I do this? This isn't happening the way I want. And so we sort of self-sabotage when it is just normal and it is exactly the way it's supposed to be. Because of course, your real world actions will fall short to your vision. That will happen even more so if you don't have enough experience with making your visions a reality. We think we're better than we actually are because we already get such a great feeling from our imagination, from our vision. That already makes us feel like we've made it. But it's one thing to have the vision and it's one thing to make it happen. And trust me, you don't have to do those 10,000 steps that other people are doing. You can lean into your vision and into your unique worldview. That is going to be the thing that makes you stand out. We just need to do the minimum of what we can, of those actions that are going to make the difference. They don't have to be perfect, but they have to be there. Remember, done is better than perfect. And what we have to learn is that we stop judging ourselves for falling short of our vision. Our vision is not supposed to represent reality. Our vision is supposed to be the North Star. It is supposed to show us the trajectory that we want to grow in. And that's what's going to keep you moving forward. So you have to confront yourself with your imperfection. And you have to know that you need to separate those two. Your mind is in a completely different state when it creates the vision. It's also in a different state when it creates the steps, as in, okay, I'm planning to write the book for 12 months. That means every month I need to do this. And I have times on Saturdays from 10 to 12 in the morning. And that's how I'm going to do that. So vision, planning it out, and then another different way of thinking when you execute it. So when Saturday comes, you're not asking yourself, what should I do? Because you've already planned it. You've planned what you're going to write, and then you write. If you allow yourself to really separate those things, you will see an immense progression in no matter what you choose to do. If it's about creating a healthier lifestyle for you, if it's about getting a better job and the application process, if it's about moving, if it's about dating even, right? You can remove all of those hurdles that you've put on yourself by just understanding, oh, okay, I'm going to do online dating. I will talk to 3 people every week, no matter how I feel about it. And then I go on a date, let's say once a month. And I do this until it makes me feel comfortable, until this doesn't make me feel like, oh, there's some kind of scary thing that's going to happen, or I'm going to feel ashamed, or whatever it may be. You separate those 3: vision, planning, and execution. And every single step of those has something to do with a combination of NI and SE. The more you go into the execution part, the heavier you have to tap into SE and the less into NI. So your vision will be the most important and you're going to be best at that. Then the planning and, making it into smaller steps is also going to come easier to you than the execution. And therefore, we have to make sure that all of those steps are making it as easy as possible for you, that once you get to a place where you have to execute, and without the execution, it's just not going to go anywhere. That execution part, you make it as easy for you as possible. And you do that by removing every little step that is outside of that process that's going to take up your mental space. So once you're in that execution phase, your mental space can all be focused on that one task at hand. And that's how you make the progress as an INFJ. If you're still worried that you can't do that without losing motivation or, taking some wrong steps or any of that, then definitely check out the new poster on the INFJ Epic Life Formula. It will really help you, and no matter what kind of area you want to take on next. And if you want to take it further, then get the INFJ Epic Life audio guide. All the information you find in the links in the description. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video, How the INFJ Bypasses Everyone.